Hello, everyone. Welcome back to For the Record Final Reviews. Today we're doing Rotten Sound, Abuse to Suffer. This right here. If this is your first time joining me on this joyous adventure of vinyl reviews, this little segment is where I go over the vinyl release by bands that I particularly enjoy. I'm just going through all the vinyl records that I have in my collection and just rating them, mainly in the way that I enjoy them. Not just for the music, but in the package that you get the vinyl in as well. So today, as promised in my last video, we're going over Rotten Sound, Abuse to Suffer, as you can hear in the background. So I've listened to this vinyl maybe 3 or 4 times now. For Rotten Sound, this is definitely a Rotten Sound album. And that's about all I really have to say about this. There's nothing really bad, but there's not really anything that stands out either. If you're familiar with Rotten Sound, you know how they sound. Rotten Sound. So before I get into the music review portion of this, how about we take a look at this little vinyl we have. Look at that fucking cat. Look at that cute, adorable cat. Fuck you. All right, so here we have the Rotten Sound Abuse to Suffer vinyl cover. It is a gatefold. I do really enjoy the artwork on this. It's very beautiful and a bit surreal, and I like that. Let's open this puppy up. See, now this is where I might have some complaints of what I get with this vinyl package is that it seems very minimalistic, which is fine, but it's a bit too on the minimalistic side. It's just one solid gold color from left to right, and then you have the song titles that are, I guess, are kind of creatively placed on tombstones, and you can read them off left to right. And on top of the tombstones, it does actually say the which side of the vinyl and the song track. So here we have B2, so B-side track 2. And then over on this side, you just have blog gold up and down, and with the credits all up and down here. It's so very minimalistic that I'm actually a little disappointed by it. Whenever I pre-order vinyl, I always hope to get a little bit more than the standard, and this is a bit just too standard for me. And then on the back, you got the track listing, and that's really it, with some, artwork going on alongside it. So yeah, that's it. On to the music review. So if you're new to Rotten Sound, let me just tell you a little bit of who they are. They're really fast grindcore with a nice, heavy HM2 Swedish distortion sound to the guitars. The drums are furiously fast. Fucking vocals are always phenomenal. I love the vocals for Rotten Sound so much. They have been at the top of the grindcore chain for a long time now, actually. The first 2 albums they released were kind of weird and wonky and a bit unfocused. They didn't really catch their break, though, until they released their amazing Murderworks album. And that was when they finally got their break, where they figured out exactly what they were going to do with their approach, and they nailed it out of the park. And then they topped it off even better with the release of Exit, which is the album that got me into them when I was younger. And I've been a fan of them ever since I've heard Exit. Which had to have been around 2006, maybe. I had to have been like 16, 17 years old when I heard that album. Better make sure I'm right. So yes, I was right. The album was released in 2005. And ever since then, they've been following up with great album after great album. But I have to admit, it starts getting a little grating when every album they release is almost the exact same style as the previous one. I don't expect them to change everything of what they're doing, but I do expect at least some sort of evolution or innovation, something new that makes the album stand out. And that is just my one big issue with Abuse to Suffer. It just sounds like a Rotten Sound album. So if you're a Rotten Sound fan, great, you'll really like this album. But I'm more of a person of innovation. I really enjoy hearing a band warp or change little aspects of their sound to make every album stand out and unique. Unfortunately, Rotten Sound just happens to be one of those bands that just falls under the Cannibal Corpse syndrome, if I can say that, where every album you just go, well, that's a Cannibal Corpse album. And in this case, every album sounds like Rotten Sound. So essentially, if you're just down with Rotten Sound, you'll love this album. If you like really fast, noisy grindcore, you will really like this album. Longtime fan of grindcore and Rotten Sound, you might be a little disappointed to find that this is just exactly them doing the exact same thing. Again, not saying that it's a bad thing, just saying that it's monotonous after a while. And because of that, I'm just going to have to give this album a good rating on here. It's just same old Rotten Sound doing the Rotten Sound style. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's about good. Average Rotten Sound material here.